I was the infamous troublemaker of the city, spoiled, scandalous, and openly into men. In a desperate attempt to tame me, my family arranged a marriage. The chosen partner? The eldest son of the once powerful but now down-and-out Bruce family. A stiff, boring man with no spark. I smashed a glass right then and there. Even a dog wouldn't marry into that. 6 months later, just as I hung up the phone, my friends burst into exaggerated mockery. Even a dog wouldn't marry into that. I raised an eyebrow and smirked. A dog wouldn't, but I would. And besides, my man just called me home. I'm done explaining things to a pack of single mutts like you. Welcome to History Channel. Subscribe to follow all our latest adventures. Story begins. I was the notorious playboy of the city, known for brawling, street racing, and most famously, for liking men. With my brothers shouldering the family business, I lived carefreely, reaping the rewards without lifting a finger. Tonight, I popped champagne at May's Lounge to celebrate defeating my longtime rival, Victor Carson, in a street race. His brand new, jet black hypercar? The keys were now dangling between my fingers. The bass thumped through the VIP room as my rowdy crew howled with laughter and clinked glasses. Then my phone screen lit up, Queen. I raised a brow, silenced the room with a finger to my lips, and tapped speaker. I've arranged a marriage for you, came my mother's crisp voice. Clark Bruce, eldest son of the Bruce family. She hung up before I could even curse. The room went still. Then came the explosive laughter. Congrats, Henry. Cheers, Henry. I hurled my glass at the wall. It shattered loud and hard. No dog would agree to this damn marriage. Let someone else do it. Clark Bruce. That name looped in my mind, leaving behind only 2 words. Boring, rigid. The Bruce family had already crumbled, just a hollow shell of its former self. And this Clark? A dusty relic of a man, young in age but ancient in manner. Stoic, repressed, obsessed with order. The type I avoided like the plague. Pairing me with him? Utterly absurd. I slumped back onto the couch and downed another drink, trying to drown the fury bubbling in my chest. Silence gripped the room. My friends exchanged glances until Wang Chuan, the most diplomatic of the bunch, carefully broke it. Henry, man, don't be too mad. The Bruce family's already fallen. Anyone can step on them now. That unlocked the floodgates. Exactly. Word is even that nouveau riche pig Mr. Walls is trying to get his loser son in by courting the Bruce family's daughter. That's nothing, another chimed in, swirling his drink. Plenty of sharks circling their scraps. Boss Zhao wants their ancestral land. Li from Hongda's eyeing their outdated assembly line, hoping to snatch it dirt cheap. And remember that Chen family Clark offended? Now they're dangling a high-paying offer, asking him to marry into their house just to humiliate him. They're releasing marriage rumors to make themselves the sacrificial lamb. Your family stepping in probably just messed up a dozen schemes. I stared into the fizzing remnants of my drink, fists clenched until my knuckles blanched. An image forced itself into my mind. Clark Bruce, a lone wolf surrounded by hyenas, guarding the broken gates of his family home. Straight-backed. Unyielding. Fuck. I shot to my feet, crushing the hypercar key into my palm. No more drinking. This is boring. I slumped in the back seat of the car, heart still simmering. Let my old man lend them a hand for now. Once the storm passed, I'd back out of the engagement. I wasn't about to stand by while a bunch of vultures tore through a house full of the elderly and helpless. With that resolution set, we pulled up to the blazing lights of the Lambert estate. As soon as the butler opened the door, I called out loud and proud, Dad, Mom, if we're doing this wedding, make sure the dowry is generous. I don't want people saying the Lambert family is stingy. I kicked off my shoes and added, like it was no big deal, also, didn't Big Bro get that foolproof investment project recently? Let the Bruce family in on it. Consider it a welcome gift. Only after the words left my mouth did I look toward the living room. And froze. There he was. Sitting on our couch. Crisp white shirt, posture calm. Clark Bruce. Little punk. You finally decided to show up? My dad barked, voice booming. From behind a newspaper, My brother slowly lifted his head, gold-rimmed glasses gleaming. He smirked. Well, the sun must be rising in the west. Are Henry's suddenly looking out for his future in-laws? Don't worry, I recorded that entire speech. And Clark Bruce, boring, rigid, unlovable Clark Bruce, leaned slightly back into the sofa, an unreadable smile still lingering on his lips, eyes quietly watching me. My mom beamed with delight, smugness practically dripping from her voice. See Clark? Didn't I say our Henry is actually really sweet? He's already taking your side. I looked away, ears unreasonably hot, and plopped onto the couch's farthest end. The adults quickly turned the conversation to setting a wedding date. I pretended to be glued to my phone, though I couldn't stop sneaking glances at Clark Bruce. Still straight-backed, sharp jawline, listening intently as my parents listed auspicious days. Then, as if sensing my gaze, he turned, just like that. Our eyes met. My heart skipped. I tried to glare. Rubbed my nose instead. Coward. The wedding date was finalized in that strange, awkward tension. As they were leaving, my mom nudged me. Henry, go walk Clark out. It was a cool night. We walked side by side in silence. I was debating what to say when he stopped and turned to me, his voice low and calm in the still air. Henry. He paused. I understand. This marriage, it's a step up for us. If it's truly a burden to you. I'm not burdened. I snapped like I'd been jabbed in the ribs. Let's first deal with your family's crisis, then talk. You think I'm the type to take a loss? I couldn't stand that quiet, stoic suffering of his. Then I noticed the faint wear at the cuffs of his expensive-looking suit. Without thinking, I shoved the car key into his hand, still warm from my grip. Take it. I turned away quickly, forcing my voice into careless nonchalance. Just want it. Barely used. Your family needs to look the part. Don't let the bastards think you're easy prey. If it's too flashy, sell it. It's worth a decent amount. Clark Bruce blinked, eyes flicking from the key to me. Something in those usually unreadable eyes shifted. And then, he smiled. A real smile. Thank you, he said, his deep voice calm and clear in the night. Looks like the rumors weren't entirely true after all. That wiped away my earlier discomfort. My smugness flared. I lifted my chin. Damn right. They're just jealous I get to live like a king. That earned another faint but unmistakable curve of his lips. It's getting late, he said softly. I'll head back. I stood there, watching his tall frame melt into the car, his posture still upright, but somehow no longer burdened. As the taillights disappeared, I touched my ear. It was still warm. And that fleeting smile of his replayed again in my mind. Maybe he's not as dull as the rumors say. That night became nothing more than a footnote in my memory. Until I saw Clark Bruce again. At the starting line of my next race with that bastard Victor Carson. That bastard somehow got his hands on another limited edition hypercar and strutted in like he owned the place, demanding a rematch to salvage the pride he lost last time. I was just about to put on my helmet when I caught a glimpse of someone who absolutely shouldn't be here. Clark Bruce. He stood at the edge of the crowd, in a perfectly tailored dark suit that looked utterly out of place. His face was tight with disapproval, like one of those strict deans that make students walk the long way around to avoid confrontation. Well, Victor Carson noticed him too. His voice dripped sarcasm. Henry, your fiancé's already checking up on you? Strict family discipline, huh? I felt my face heat up, throwing my voice out stiffly. What are you doing here? Clark ignored the whistles and jeers around him. He walked straight through the crowd, glanced once at Victor's flashy new car, then turned back to me. Henry Lambert. Get out of the car. Just like that. One sentence. All the bravado I had seconds ago seemed to shrink away. I suddenly felt like a delinquent caught by the school principal. My throat moved involuntarily, and I looked away. Still leaning stubbornly against the door, I mumbled with a half-hearted grin, it's just one race. I win, and I'll let you drive the prize back home. The words left my mouth and I immediately regretted them. What a lame excuse. Victor laughed even louder now, his arrogance ballooning. Clark's brows twitched almost imperceptibly. He didn't get mad. He simply curved his lips, barely. "All right," he said calmly. Before I could process what was happening, he circled the front of the car, opened the passenger door, and slid into the seat beside me. "Wait, what are you doing?" I panicked. "You stay here. I'll be back in 10 minutes with that bastard's keys." Normally, racing full throttle felt like freedom. But tonight, with Clark Bruce sitting silently beside me, I felt tight. Anxious. Like any mistake might not just hurt me, but him. Victor was already honking impatiently from the starting line. "What's wrong, Henry Lambert? Chickening out before we even start?" "Drive." Clark's voice cut through the noise, calm, steady, grounding. "You said you'd win for me, didn't you?" He turned slightly, shadows from the streetlights tracing his profile, and his eyes met mine, clear, sharp, and knowing. "Then let me watch you do it." I strapped in and gunned the engine. The roar matched the pounding in my chest. Out the corner of my eye, Clark sat still as stone, composed. "If you're scared, you can still get out," I blurted. He glanced at me, unmoved. His voice was quiet. "Go." And with that one word, something in me snapped into place. The whistle blew. I slammed the accelerator, and we shot forward like a bolt of lightning. Every muscle in my body focused. Every reflex tuned. I'd never driven like this, never wanted to win so badly. When we tore across the finish line, the crowd erupted. It wasn't even close. I crushed him. Without a second glance, I shoved the newly won car key into Clark's hand. "Yours." The others swarmed in, laughing and cheering. Victor approached, face dark and twisted. Clearly humiliated, he didn't dare pick a fight with me, so he turned on Clark instead. His voice rose, loud and bitter. "Clark Bruce, huh? Must be nice. Sit back, say a few words, and walk away with a hypercar." He paused deliberately, eyes glinting with malice. Guess the Bruce family really is that desperate. Sending out their golden boy to charm his way through life. "You getting pretty good at mooching, huh? What's the family motto now? Bend or break?" His lackeys cackled behind him. "You want to say that again?" I saw red. Before my mind caught up, my fist was already slamming into Victor's disgusting face. But that wasn't enough. As he staggered back, I lunged and drove 2 solid kicks into his gut, knocking him flat. "You think you're worthy of mocking Clark Bruce? You're not even fit to shine his damn shoes." Chaos broke loose. People rushed in from both sides. Shouting. Fists flying. It turned into an all-out brawl. Amid the mess, I grabbed Clark's wrist. "What are you standing there for? Run." Dragging him through the melee, I jumped into the new car and peeled off. The city lights eventually swallowed the chaos as we sped back toward downtown. Victor's venomous words still echoed in my head, making my blood boil all over again. Gripping the wheel, I muttered, softer than usual, "Clark Bruce, that bastard's just a rabid dog who bites whatever he sees. Don't take a single thing he said to heart. Not worth it." I hesitated, then added in a sheepish mumble, "And I didn't mean to hit him that hard. Just couldn't help it." I puffed up, trying to justify it. Besides, that guy's always doing shady crap. I was doing the world a favor. Clark slowly turned to me. He stared, silent. His gaze, deep and steady, made my ears burn. "I know," he said quietly. "You didn't act out of impulse. You did it because he insulted me." I glanced at him. Streetlights washed over his profile, casting soft flickers in his eyes. That look, composed and piercing, made my heart race more than the race ever had. "Well done," he added softly. I whipped my head forward, both hands tightening around the wheel. What the hell was wrong with this guy? Why didn't he ever play by the rules? That feeling of being completely seen through, yet not criticized, was more disorienting than any scolding could have been. I drew in a deep breath and finally broke the silence that had grown unbearable. "My parents asked you to come find me, didn't they?" I kept my eyes on the red light ahead, fingers tapping the steering wheel. "Then why didn't you say anything when I was racing?" His voice came back calm, open, and unexpectedly sincere. "You had control. You weren't reckless. So I had nothing to say." He paused, and in the confined space of the car, his voice seemed even more clear. Racing is something you love. I respect that. His words dropped into my chest like a stone into still water, rippling out in quiet, persistent waves. I'd braced for a lecture, a cold disapproval. I never expected respect. That strange feeling stayed with me all the way to the Bruce estate. When the car finally stopped, I shoved the hypercar keys, my trophy, into his hand, like I had to get rid of them before I chickened out. Take it. He blinked, for once visibly caught off guard. A rare flicker of amusement curved his lips. And how are you planning to get back? I cleared my throat and looked away. I'll just call a cab later. He looked at me, his voice softening. Henry Lambert, you don't have to do this. This one's mine. The words burst out of me, a bit sharp, a bit awkward, but firm. I earned it. It's not like the stuff my family gives me. His expression faltered for a beat, and then, under the streetlights, he smiled. It was gentle. And in that instant, I could hear my own heartbeat faltering. Something in my brain short-circuited. Before I could stop myself, I blurted out the question that had been clawing at my insides. Clark Bruce, you know I like men. I stared at him, mouth dry, heart clenching. And you? His smile faded, his gaze holding mine steadily, more serious than ever before. I've never liked a man, he said, choosing each word carefully. But I'm willing to. I got it. I cut him off, too fast, too loud. I didn't want to hear what came next. Not that word. Not husband, or anything like it. That wasn't what I wanted from him, not something done out of duty. When your family gets through this, I said quickly, voice catching in my throat, I'll talk to my parents. You won't be stuck with this. I won't make you stay. I couldn't look at him. Couldn't face whatever might be in his eyes. I turned and all but bolted to the curb, flinging my arm up to hail a cab. The night wind was cool, but it couldn't put out the fire burning across my face. Or the ache settling in my chest. As the taxi pulled away, I slumped back against the seat and closed my eyes. I was done for. I'd fallen for Clark Bruce. And all it took was one smile, just one from that usually unreadable face, for me to completely lose it. To ask the one question I'd been too afraid to voice. And when he answered, I've never liked a man, I ran. Because I already knew. Clark Bruce was always like that, composed, responsible, impossibly steady. Even if it meant spending his life with someone he didn't love, he'd shoulder the burden without complaint. And that knowledge? It twisted in my chest like a knife. If he did like men, maybe I could have fought for something. But he didn't. God damn it. I didn't even get to fall in love properly before I got my heart broken. After that day, I truly understood what it meant to be devastated. I, Henry Lambert, the wildest brat in the city, had finally caught feelings for someone. For real. And it just so happened that he was a painfully straight-laced, painfully straight man. It sucked harder than losing 10 races in a row. The nightclubs, the racetracks, the boxing rings. Nothing felt the same. Nothing thrilled me anymore. I lay sprawled on the living room couch like a dead fish, half-heartedly swiping through my phone. The game over screen stared back at me, as gray and lifeless as I felt. I sighed. Loudly. My mom walked by with a fruit tray, gave me one look, and slammed the tray on the table. Who stole your soul, huh? You've been sighing all damn day. Why don't you go have lunch with Clark or something, build that relationship? She started jabbing my forehead with her finger. I'm telling you, I love that boy. Steady, respectful, responsible. If his family hadn't hit rough times, you wouldn't even dream of landing someone like that. Then, uncharacteristically, she sighed too. Honestly, we really did take advantage of their situation. I was already cranky, and snapped back without thinking. Well, if we know we took advantage, then how about we give them more projects or benefits to even it out? What was I supposed to say? By the way, Mom, the guy you're so eager to marry me off to doesn't even swing my way? Yeah. I wasn't tanking my pride and my heartbreak in the same conversation. She glared, thoroughly exasperated, and yanked me up by the arm. That's it. Get out. I've already booked you a lunch at Cloud Top Restaurant with Clark. You're going. Learn from someone who actually has a spine. Slam. The door shut in my face. I stood there in the blinding sun, feeling like I'd just been handed a death sentence. I dragged myself to Cloud Top Restaurant, the most reluctant lunch date in history. And there he was, right by the window. Clark Bruce. Still as proper as ever, posture perfect, his profile all clean lines and quiet elegance. I shuffled over like a zombie, stealing glances at his annoyingly perfect face. What do I like about him? His stiffness? His terrifying resemblance to a school principal? I was mid-mental rant when he suddenly turned and caught me staring. Our eyes met. My breath hitched. I tried to look away, but before I could, he smiled. And just like that, my heart lost all sense of rhythm. Thump, thump, thump. Hey, he said gently, pulling out the chair across from him. I sat, awkward and twitchy, eyes darting everywhere but his. I was just about to blurt out something stupid to kill the silence, when he pushed a small, carefully wrapped box across the table toward me. I looked at him, puzzled. I heard it from your brother, he said calmly, like it was just some small talk. I hesitated, then opened the box, and froze. Inside lay a top-tier racing helmet. Not just any helmet. Right on the side was a signature I'd spent years dreaming about, handwritten by my all-time racing idol. I'd tried everything to get that autograph. Pulled strings, begged favors, and still came up empty. And now, here it was. Right in front of me. All those complicated feelings about unrequited crushes, about straight guy problems, about aching and awkwardness, shattered instantly. I looked up, nearly biting my tongue in excitement. Where did you even get this? Clark Bruce simply smiled, didn't answer. Instead, he said, try it on. See if it fits. I hugged the helmet and nodded hard. I love it. And God help me, I couldn't hide it. He'd asked my brother about what I liked. He was so busy, yet he remembered something so small, and pulled this off? I looked at his quiet, composed face and for a second, everything about him felt perfect. His seriousness? Steady. His rigidity? Reliable. Even the way he dodged my question felt thoughtful and deep. And he gave me a gift. A real gift, one that only someone who listened would think to give. Did that mean maybe, just maybe, he cared? The thought went off like fireworks in my brain, dizzy and dazzling. I hugged the helmet tighter, grinning so wide I thought my cheeks might split. I was floating. That was it. Game over, Henry Lambert. You're done for. One thoughtful gesture and you've already written an entire romance arc in your head. And you're loving every second of it. I barely tasted the food. My mouth was chewing, but the sugar was all in my chest. Eventually, I couldn't hold it in anymore and blurted, "So, how's your company doing these days?" I tried to sound casual. "You gave me such a cool gift. I'll tell my old man to throw your family a couple more projects. You know, returning the favor." As soon as I said it, even I realized how obvious I sounded. Clark Bruce chuckled, actually chuckled, and shook his head. "That's not necessary. Your family's already done more than enough. The Bruce family won't forget it." "Oh." I wilted a little, then tried again. "Then what do you like? I'll get you something. Cars? Watches? Or maybe..." I scrambled for ideas, practically ready to drag the whole world to his doorstep. He watched me flounder, the corners of his eyes crinkling with amusement. He waited until I was out of breath, then said softly, "I don't need anything." He paused. Then his gaze locked onto mine, steady, sure. "Henry Lambert." He said my full name, voice quiet but deliberate. "Last time, I didn't finish what I was saying. You ran." My heart leapt into my throat. "Today, I want to finish." He didn't look away. "It's true, I've never liked a man before." Just like that, my heart plummeted. I knew it. "But," he continued, "I've never liked anyone before. I've never been in a relationship." He took a breath, then said clearly, "So, if you're willing, we can start from zero." His voice carried both warmth and resolve. And as I looked into his serious, unwavering eyes, all the fear and restlessness I'd been carrying vanished. Well, I tried to summon my usual swagger, but the grin tugging at my lips and the heat in my ears betrayed me. Funny you say that, 'cause I've never really had a serious relationship either. I cleared my throat, eyes darting down to the glass in front of me. My voice dropped but stayed firm. Yeah, let's start from zero. I took a long gulp of water, trying to drown the ridiculous excitement that was clawing its way up my spine. After lunch, Clark drove me home. He parked outside my family's estate, turned to me, and said in his usual low, calm tone, "It's getting cold tomorrow. Make sure to wear something warmer." His face was so close. Something impulsive, wild, stupid surged up in me before I could stop it. "Clark Bruce," I cut in, tilting my chin up, doing my best to fake confidence despite my racing heart. "Can I kiss you?" He paused, eyes widening just a little, and turned to look at me. I didn't give myself time to second guess. "Screw it." He said, "We're starting from zero. That means I get to be bold." I leaned in and kissed him. It was quick, deliberate, and not nearly as cool as I'd imagined. But his lips were soft, with that faint, clean scent of mint that always lingered around him. I pulled back just as fast, dropped into my seat, and stared straight ahead, pretending like my pulse wasn't absolutely out of control. "Not bad," I said, trying to sound casual. I fumbled for the seatbelt. "Anyway, I'm out." I stepped out into the cool night, the door clicking behind me, and I couldn't stop my grin from stretching ear to ear. From that day on, it was like a switch flipped inside me. All those cheesy romance cliches I used to roll my eyes at, suddenly they were my favorite weapons. I barged into Clark's office with a huge, gaudy bouquet of red tulips and slammed it into his arms in front of his stunned employees. "Past a flower shop. Thought these matched your tie." He blinked. Then the corners of his mouth curled up in a smile equal parts helpless and indulgent. He turned to his assistant. "Find a vase." A few days later, I baked a batch of horrible-looking cookies from some online tutorial and delivered them in a carefully decorated box. He picked up a lopsided bear-shaped one, edges a bit burnt, inspected it, then calmly popped it into his mouth. Without flinching, he nodded. "Tastes great. Thanks." He never refused. Never laughed. Just accepted every odd gesture with warmth and sincerity. That bouquet? He kept it in a vase, in plain sight on his desk. And somehow, that kindness, the quiet perfection of it, made me start to panic. He was too good. Too composed. Too kind. Was this just courtesy? Was I only ever going to touch the surface? Was I too loud, too shallow to ever reach that deep part of him? Those doubts tangled around my heart, thorny and quiet, tightening every time he smiled at me. Then came the charity gala. And Victor Carson. I was waiting outside the ballroom, scanning the crowd for Clark, when Victor strolled up with a girl on his arm and a smirk full of venom. Well, Henry, where's your fiancée?" He sneered, putting extra weight on the word fiancé. I rolled my eyes and turned away. But he wasn't done. He leaned in, voice dropping. "Still dreaming that little fantasy of yours? Wake up. Everyone knows." He paused, clearly enjoying the flicker of tension in my face. "Clark Bruce plays along with your little gay romance act because a few crumbs from your rich family keep his barely breathing Bruce family on life support." My heart dropped. Fingers went cold. Victor saw it and grinned wider, going for the kill. "Did you really think a man like him, polished, upright, raised to marry well, would fall for someone like you?" He leaned closer, each word a dagger. "Once he's done using you to prop up that sinking ship, what do you think he'll do? Marry some heiress and dump you like trash? Or maybe he'll be too polite to dump you, but deep down, he'll be disgusted he ever touched you." He chuckled. "Hell, you might throw yourself at him and he'll still find you cheap." And just like that, every fear I'd buried deep, every insecurity I'd tried to ignore, was ripped open, raw, and exposed. The last thread of control inside me snapped. Fuck off. Rage consumed everything. I didn't think, didn't hesitate. I swung my fist, aiming to smash it into Victor Carson's disgusting, smug face. But just before impact, someone grabbed my wrist from behind, firm, unwavering. I turned sharply. "Clark Bruce." I didn't even know when he got here. He stood behind me, expression calm, but the tight line of his lips betrayed his displeasure. And just like that, everything broke. The anger. The panic. The ache I hadn't been able to name. All of it collapsed into something raw. My nose stung, my vision blurred. I stared at him, struggling to shake his grip, my voice trembling despite my best efforts. Let go of me. Henry Lambert. He said my name, not loudly, but it cut through everything like a grounding force, pulling me back from the edge. He didn't even look at me. His eyes were fixed squarely on Victor Carson, whose smirk had started to fade. Clark still held my wrist, stepping forward, shielding me completely. Victor Carson, he said, voice level but crisp. First, your words just now fall well within the bounds of defamation and character assault. My attorney will be in touch. We reserve every right to pursue legal action. Victor blanched. Second, Clark continued, each syllable sharp and deliberate. My relationship with Henry is no one's business but ours. It's not yours to mock, twist, or dirty with your own warped assumptions. His gaze lingered on Victor's pale, twitching face. And then, lastly, I expect you, right now, to apologize to my fiancé. Fiancé. He said it so clearly, so confidently. My heart, which had been flailing in the dark, found solid ground. After the banquet, Clark drove me home. We sat in the stillness of the car, the engine off, the world quiet. I'd kept it bottled all the way, but now, the words wouldn't stay down. I turned to him, awkward, direct, maybe even a little desperate. Clark Bruce, do you like me? He didn't answer right away. I panicked. I'm too impulsive, I muttered, lowering my gaze, always getting into trouble. I don't know business. If it weren't for my family's money, I'd be nothing. Henry Lambert, he said softly. I looked up. In the dim light, his gaze felt like the only thing in focus. To me, he said, steady and unshakable, you're honest. Brave. He paused, searching for the word. Like fire. Unafraid to burn. You'd throw punches for me. You'd hand me something you fought to win without hesitation. That kind of heart, he gave a small, rare smile, is more precious than anything else. My chest thumped hard. My tailbone buzzed like it had touched lightning. His gaze never wavered. I might not show feelings the way you do. But I stood beside you. I claimed you in front of everyone. If that's not liking you, then what is? The heat in my cheeks flared up again, but this time, it wasn't from shame. It was joy. Blinding, radiant joy. And just like that, I leaned forward. Grinning, eyes bright, I said, then prove it. I glanced at his lips, my tone all playful arrogance with a hint of pleading. If you like me, then kiss me. A lot. So I'll remember. His eyes flickered with surprise, then melted into something deeper. Something dangerous. A beat later, he leaned in. And the moment he did, I grabbed the back of his neck and kissed him first. Not timid. Not cautious. Breathless, we broke apart only when we couldn't hold it anymore. I pressed my forehead against his, panting, grinning like a bastard. My fingertips brushed his flushed lips. Just like that, I whispered, every time. Clark chuckled softly, indulgent, his eyes dark with warmth. All right. With the Lambert family's public and private backing, and Clark's own unshakable talent and leadership, the Bruce family didn't just recover. They soared. And as for us? Day by day, we only grew closer. Clark remained calm and patient. But more and more, he'd smile helplessly at my antics, never pushing me away. We fit together like two puzzle pieces. He steadied me. I lit him up. Tonight, my rowdy friends dragged me out under the excuse of a last night of freedom party. Music pounded. Lights flashed. The suite was chaos. Then my phone rang. The custom ringtone, Clark's. I held up a finger to silence the room and answered, my voice slipping into a soft, sticky tone before I could stop it. Hey, Henry, he said low and warm. It's time to come home. I grabbed my coat immediately. Where you going, huh? One friend teased in a high-pitched mockery, parroting my infamous line from months ago. This marriage. I stopped at the door, turned back and smirked. Damn right. Even a dog wouldn't. And then, smug as hell, I added. So I did. I pulled the door open, tossed one last parting shot over my shoulder. My husband's waiting for me. You lonely bastards wouldn't understand. Pillows flew at the door. Laughter and curses followed me out into the night. The next day, the hall was filled to the brim, glittering under chandeliers. I stood at the altar in a custom white suit, hands faintly trembling. Then I saw him, Clark Bruce, tall, poised, walking slowly down the aisle toward me. My heart pounded harder than it ever had, even on the racetrack. We stood face to face. In front of family, friends, and witnesses, we exchanged rings. As the cool platinum slid onto my finger, I looked up. His eyes met mine, warm, steady, smiling. The world went silent. I leaned in, close enough that only he could hear me, grinning with the purest kind of triumph. Clark Bruce, you're mine for life now. His hand closed gently over mine, strong and steady. I'm yours, he said, his voice soft but sure. And he meant every word. The end.
Thanks for stopping by. Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any new videos.